Thomas.
Hi.
So first, I want to briefly ask you about the developments that have followed since Ivan Toney's goal last weekend. The PGMOL issued an apology over the VAR error and said it was a human error, and also Lee Mason has been stood down from this weekend's fixtures. What is your reaction to that?
A couple of reactions to it. I think it's very important, of course, that we or the the referee department they get the VAR situations right. No doubt about that. We would have been disappointed as well if it happened towards us. It was a human mistake, which I completely understand. I think we have seen human mistakes in football over the last more than 100 years, and in a way, I hope it will happen in the future as well, because that's why we're human. Of course, I'll be disappointed if it happened against us. Uh, but that's one thing, and now they're doing everything they can to upscale and upgrade the level in the VAR room. Unfortunately, and there's also a good why you start with that question. I think that question massively have overshadowed our performance against Arsenal, where the performance were more than good enough to get a well-deserved point. And I think actually I said that before. And if there should have been a winner, I think it could easily have been us. And no one spoke about the Brian Mbeumo situation in the beginning of the game after 11 minutes, where he's through on goal, actually scores, and Ramsdale actually tried to save it. He scores. No one speaks about that. That's also a human error. But because it's not checked by VAR, it's not as big. But our overall performance were good, and that's what we are very happy with. And you can see it in the players' faces. And we've talked about the good place we are in, and we need to continue. And on top of that, 10 games unbeaten run is well deserved points, 3 points or 1 point every single time. If anything, maybe we could have actually hoped and wished for a bit more according to our performances. And now it's all about do it one more time against a good Crystal Palace team. That was a long answer.
And it's also been reported this week that some Premier League clubs are pushing for semi-automated offside ruling. Would you be in favour of that for next season?
To be fair, I don't know enough about that semi-automatic offside. I heard about it. I'm for everything that will make the game better and make it more, I would say not correct, but as fair as possible. It's a physical sport. It's a contact sport. I think no matter what, it'll be a lot of tricky situations going forward in the future as well. I know offside is a hugely important rule in football and decides a lot of goals or no goals. So if it can help, then I'm open for it.
And you mentioned before that you're unbeaten in 10 Premier League games. If you carry on with this form, Europe is a real possibility. Is that something the club is targeting?
Not as a target. We are allowed to dream. We are pleased where we are now. Very aware that if we don't top perform tomorrow, we will get nothing out of the game against Crystal Palace. That's the difference in every game in the Premier League. The margins are so small, and if you're not top 6 team, and even them, those teams, they need in close to Newcastle, they need to top perform. The rest of us, it's on the day where we need to put a good performance out. We are in a good place. I prefer to be where we are right now, of course. We have almost a fully fit squad, players in form, confidence. We're really in a top place, but we need to continue and we need to push and we need to do everything we can to keep this high level.
What would it mean for the club if you did achieve European football?
If we do, I would love to give you an answer if that happened. But right now, I only focus on do my very best to see if we can get 3 points against Crystal Palace.
And just ahead of the game against Crystal Palace, do you have any team news?
Everyone that was available last game is available again. That's the good news. Pontus Jansson, Frank Onyeka, Thomas Tuchel, all three will not be in the squad for tomorrow. All three, we have a little bit more than 2 weeks until the next game because of the postponed Man United game. In more than 2 weeks' time, hopefully they could be very close to be involved. But of course, we need to see every day. You're welcome.
Indeed. I just wondered whether your superpower as a manager right now is the flexibility with formations. I think people look at teams like Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, and how well you've all done, and are trying to identify what that one thing is. Would you say it is that? It's that in-game management and the flexibility to go to pour it back?
Good question. Yeah, of course, I take the decision together with my coaching staff what kind of system we want to play before each match. I'm earlier in my career, I was more towards one system. Boom, that's what we do. I'm doing very, very well, and then we tweak it a little bit. And even with, let's say, just a 4-3-3 system, you could in the game have a in possession formation and an out of possession formation, and that could also tweak from game to game depending on the pressure and the build up. But I think I learned that it's nice to have two different systems, and right now that's the 3-5-2 and the 4-3-3 that we can use depending on the opponent and what kind of task there is in front of us.
And is that something that you've identified as a head coach as a necessity in the Premier League right now?
I think with where we are, Brentford, I think it has helped us. I think it helped us to have the two different systems depending on who we are facing. That's given us one of many small extra edges that's hopefully adding up, that giving us the opportunity to be in this good form.
Crystal Palace, once upon a time, when they didn't have Wilfried Zaha available, managers would have a wry smile if you were facing them next because they knew they were a weaker opposition without him. We've just heard that he is going to be ruled out for a few weeks, so he won't be available to play against you. But are they a different proposition now, with and without him?
I think it's, talking about City, with and without Haaland, Arsenal, Saka, for example, Liverpool, Salah, teams, us without Ivan Toney. There's always key players in every team, and I agree that Zaha. I don't think anyone can, even I can't get around and say no, they're equally as good with and without Zaha. I think that will not be the truth. Of course, Zaha is a top player for them. So, but I think it's when other players are coming in, different dynamics, or dynamics are changing a tiny bit. Other players are stepping up. Other things we need to be aware of. And I think, as I said it before, Olise, Eze, and Zaha, and I know Zaha's not playing, I think are three top individual players. I think they're other in the individual qualities with Mateta and Ayew and Eduardo up front. I think it's a very, very strong attack. And I know, of course, I also read the recent results. I know they maybe haven't scored as much as they would like to. But when I look at the individual qualities, I think they have huge individual qualities.
Final one from me. I know we've already spoken about potential Europe. You carried on that run. I want to bring that just down to the home form, because Arsenal are the only team that have beaten you at home this season. How motivated are you for that to be the case from the end of the season?
Yeah, that would be an unbelievable stat if that could happen. And again, if it's about us, and it's about what we can do in the next game. And tomorrow it's Crystal Palace. Of course, we know at home at G-Tech with our fans in the back, and they've been amazing. Hopefully, they can keep pushing and get us over the line. And we need to do it together with them. I say that all the time, and I mean it. It needs to be us and the fans together that can top perform, and that hopefully is enough to get 3 points against Crystal Palace.
You're good.
Good, thank
I
you.
know you said that everyone who played in the last game is available. I remember against Arsenal, Ivan was kind of holding his hamstrings. He had a good week training.
Yes, touch wood, good week, trained all days, so yes, fit and available, and will start.